feeling. This place is jumping off hard as it can get. No, we won't ever stop dancing on the edge. We like it dangerous, we like to see you split. Turn up another notch, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let me tell you something. 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 Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. Got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Got a real good feeling. Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. I got a real good feeling.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing how you evangelize Bitcoin. I am Jeb, I am your host, and I am back. I was sick, but I'm feeling better now. We have a lot to talk about in today's live stream. I'm joined by our co-host, Tim. How are you doing, Tim?
What's up, everybody? Doing good, doing good.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we are also joined by Smay, who is producing the show. Smay, how are you doing?
Hey guys, what's going on? Happy to be here. I love you guys.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. We have a lot to talk about in today's live stream. In this stream, we are going to be going over how you evangelize Bitcoin and how you actually spread the gospel, spread the good news of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and get other people involved in the movement that's starting. Guys, we have seen Tesla adopting Bitcoin. We're seeing massive cryptocurrency adoption coming out of Visa. We are seeing a tipping point right now, a turning point in human civilization as people are starting to realize the value that is Bitcoin. So let's make sure that we fully understand the value of Bitcoin so we can spread that value to everyone else. Guys, I have a little bit of a funny story before we get started. We're going to let a few people join on in while I am telling this. Yesterday, my truck caught on fire. So I was driving around. So what I like to do, guys, you might be able to relate to this. I like driving around just kind of dreaming about where this whole Bitcoin thing will take me. I was driving around thinking, and I felt a knock in my engine. So I decided I'd pull over and I'd check because I have a slow leak on our tire. If you watch our stories or if you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, you will have seen the picture. So I pulled over and I parked in a parking lot, as you do. And I checked my tire, it was all good, so I smelled burning, right? So I looked around, I was looking for smoke, hoping there was a brush fire, and I was like, no, that's coming from my car. So I opened the hood to check the oil, figuring the car had overheated, and it was on fire. My truck was on fire. Guys, I love my old truck. It's on fire. Tell us in the chat if you think I ought to get a new car, what kind of car I ought to get. Tim, I'm having to drive back and forth to work with you and Zach for a little while. Is that annoying?
Well, you didn't ride with me because I left a little earlier today. But no, I wouldn't say annoying. I mean, I have no problem riding with you.
Hey.
Got a little half-hour commute to work. Ain't bad.
There we go. Guys, we have a lot to talk about in this stream. Smay, is there anything you want to add before we get started? Is there anything you want to talk about? Because you've had a lot of great ideas of things that we can discuss in this morning's planning meeting. Someone says CT2A changed their life. Shout out to Sweetie D. Thank you very much for saying that. Glad that happened.
I guess I would say it's like, hey, cars are cool. If you guys want to give me a car, I'd be happy to receive one.
If you want to give me a car, I'd be happy.
I don't have a car, so I'd love a car. But anyways, that's all I want to say. Yeah.
Smash the like button for Smay to get a new car. Guys,
Ford Raptor, eye of the beholder. That is I am actually actively working on pursuing that. I don't know yet.
I've always
Might
wanted
take
a Ford
a couple
Raptor.
years. But
I've always wanted a Raptor also. Someone said a Ford Mustang. We actually had someone interview for a social media position with us. His name is John. He's a good friend of ours, actually. And during the interview, we talked for like 2 hours. And he let me drive his Mustang like a week and a half ago. I got to drive a Mustang. It's pretty cool. So, yeah. Tim, shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Guys, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to evangelize Bitcoin. You know, when was the last time you were at Thanksgiving and you have an aunt, and the aunt is like, oh, what is this that you're investing your money in? You're throwing your money away, kid. You're going to get screwed. And she has no idea what in the world you're investing in, or your mom, or your dad, or your brother, or your sister, or your next door neighbor, or the cat down the street that keeps stealing your milk. Anyone, great examples, huh? Anyone who doesn't understand Bitcoin and they're wondering, what are you doing? I remember, tell me in the chat, give me a 1 in chat if you remember this. I remember when I got into Bitcoin was trading at $3,000. In 2017, it rallied to $20,000. And then in 2018, it went all the way back down to $3,000. Pulled back 85%. I remember walking around the college around here, and everybody who knew me was pitying me. They were like, oh, you're in Bitcoin. I'm so sorry. I feel for you, man. And the whole time I was very confident. I was like, no, thanks, but no thanks. I fully believe in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It might be down 85%, but I am here because of a core belief, which is what we're going to be getting into in this stream. We're going to be talking about through this book right here, The Bitcoin Standard by Safadi and Amos. If you haven't read it, this is the gospel of Bitcoin right here. You need to read this book. Please order this if you haven't read it already. Our entire team's reading this book. It's good. It's great. I remember walking around and everybody was wondering, Jeb, what are you doing? So I had to explain to a lot of people why I was so confident in an asset that was down 85%. And in this stream, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly the steps that I took and the mindset that I had to help spread the news of Bitcoin. It's our mission here to make you guys financially free and to help advance the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology around the world. And this is how you do it. Tim, the very first thing we want to talk about is decentralization, and I think you had some points on that. In fact, I think Smay also had some points on that. Smay's going to be involved in this conversation today. We're going to talk about what decentralization is, and I want to ask you, give us a 1 in chat on this also, whenever you're preaching about Bitcoin and explaining Bitcoin to someone, is the first thing you say the word decentralized? Is that what you say? You say you should buy Bitcoin because it's decentralized? Tim, do you have any analogies that you can use for that?
No, actually, I think Smay had a lot more to say on this one. What I was going to say is, what we really need to ask is people can define what decentralized means, but what are the advantages of decentralized, and do we want everything to be decentralized? And at the end of the day, do people actually care? But I know Smay had a lot to add on that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just to briefly go over what I was kind of saying in the meeting was, I was, I'm a person who likes to browse Reddit. I like to browse Reddit. I find really valuable thoughts there. People really like to talk, a lot of really valuable discussions around cryptocurrency. And I found, basically there was this thread of people talking about Bitcoin. And this one guy, he's like, guys, why do you keep saying that Bitcoin decentralized, everyone needs to buy it because it's decentralized? People don't care. Mm-hmm. He was like, guys, you're talking about the same people that have Amazon Prime memberships, that go and buy things from Amazon, that buy things from Nike, that buy things from Apple, which all are very, like, from the very root of it, you have people like very cheap labor in China that are, people are suffering to support these companies. And it's like, oh, but like, that's just how a consumer is in America. So then what makes you think then if somebody's comfortable in the system that they're living in, that they're just going to jump on board because something you use the buzzword decentralized?
So let's put it this way, guys. Have you ever had someone come up to you who's a health nut? Let's say they're a vegan. I'm just going to pick on vegans real quick. Have you ever had someone that comes up to you and they're a health nut? And they are so adamant that you should be eating the way that they're eating, and you should be consuming the products that they're consuming, and you should have the diet that they have, and you should work out the way that they should. And they're so incredibly passionate about it. There's two ways that they can approach. They can either approach very humbly, and they can say, hey, I'm really passionate about this. You should try this. But if you don't want to, that's fine. I won't bother you anymore. That's the way that you should approach being a health nut. People don't have a problem with people that are really excited about something. We all love someone who's passionate about something. What we don't love is when someone's shoving it down our throat. And we should be humble enough to realize that we can be the exact same way with Bitcoin. When we're evangelizing Bitcoin, we need to keep one thing in mind. Why should they care? Why should the people that are working in the traditional economic system care about Bitcoin? Is it because it's decentralized? What impact does it being decentralized actually make on them? Bitcoin being decentralized, meaning that the entire community, the entire network has say in what the development of Bitcoin looks like and the verification of transactions look like. That's a very important concept. We're going to get into what that is analogous to in a little bit, but I want you to think, let's prime your brain. Think about it like this. Why should anyone care? Put yourself in the spot of someone who has been evangelized to by someone else. Say some health nut comes up, or some fitness nut comes up, or some sports nut comes up, and they're just hammering you with facts and figures, trying to make you passionate about this. You don't care. People care about what they care about because it matters to them. So when we're evangelizing Bitcoin, we need to remember what matters to them. I'll give you a sneak peek on our third point. The thing that matters to people is making money and having a stable currency. We're going to get to how Bitcoin fulfills those problems. Those are the problems that people have. Right now, people think the US dollar fulfills those problems. We're going to get to why the US dollar doesn't fulfill those problems and exactly how Bitcoin can be used in evangelizing that. And then, of course, guys, we're going to move on to 2-minute technicals. Tim, do you have anything to say about that? Because if not, I have something that I want to kind of analogize that to. Go ahead.
No, I think that's good. And as we jump into this point, I want to make sure you guys understand decentralization is a key thing. It is really important. We're not saying that that is not an important detail or good for Bitcoin. What we're saying is, you know, have you ever heard that saying, people really don't care what you know until they know that you care? A lot of people just don't care about the decentralization portion of Bitcoin. That's what Jeb's been talking about. It's not that that's not important. It's that if we're going to get someone to get into Bitcoin and we're going to get someone to adopt it and utilize it, we have to actually communicate with them what they care about. And decentralization just, unfortunately, is not one of those issues.
Exactly. But the good news is, guys, there is something that people care very deeply about, and that's our third point. The next thing I want to ask you, unless there's anything that you guys want to elaborate on with that, the next thing I want to ask you is when you approach someone to evangelize Bitcoin and the crypto gospel to them, number one, do you ask them about decentralization? Do you talk about decentralization? Number two, do you go to them and do you say, hey, you can make a bunch of money making Bitcoin. You should get involved with Bitcoin? Because unfortunately, that will get people to buy into Bitcoin, but that's actually not a long-term play either. The reason is because for a currency, this is something you'll learn in this book. I highly encourage you to read this book. Something you'll learn in here by Safadine Amos, The Bitcoin Standard. You'll learn that for a currency to become a currency, for an asset or a commodity like Bitcoin or gold to become a currency, for it transitioning from a commodity to a currency, it has to be two things. It has to be a medium of exchange that is mass adopted. It being a medium of exchange is based on the concept called salability. Salability is the ability for a commodity to be used in a variety of ways. Salability is its ability to be used as a store of value over space, time, and scale, specifically the time one. So if a currency is saleable over time, what that means is that a currency will retain its value over time. The US dollar loses 2% of its value every single year. We're seeing even more of that value go down with all of the money that's been printed over the last couple of years. We've seen trillions of dollars of money being injected artificially into the economy, devaluing the entire US dollar and stealing people's money. Something you'll learn about in this book is the concept of the agri-beads and the rye stones and seashells in North America. All of these things were used as currencies. And then what happened? The market of agri-beads, these little glass beads that were used in West Africa, got flooded by the Europeans. All the value from West Africa got translated to the Europeans, and that's where the West African slave trade started. It started with a currency crisis. That's the point we're going to be getting into in a second, is that Bitcoin is a solution to a problem that hasn't yet taken place. Bitcoin is a solution to the problem of a currency crisis that has not yet come to pass on the US dollar. But when it does, Bitcoin will be here to save it. So I ask you the question, are you evangelizing Bitcoin by saying, hey, you can make a lot of money? The thing is, Bitcoin right now, you can make a lot of money in it, but the point is for that to become stable so that people are able to use it as a currency. Tim, I think you had some thoughts on that also.
No, so if you actually look at a lot of people's thinking right now that don't know cryptocurrency very well, a lot of them will ask, why should I get into Bitcoin? So I actually literally had a friend who said, I have $2,000 to invest, so I'm going to invest in Ethereum, not Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin's already so large that my return on investment really won't be that much versus Ethereum or Cardano or something like that I could grow. Which, don't get me wrong, I actually agree with. I understand what they're saying. They could turn that 2,000 into a lot more using one of those smaller altcoins than Bitcoin. Completely get it. And that's kind of Jeb's point, is that there is a time, like we are still in a phase where you will profit off of Bitcoin. Your dollar amount will go up, but that's not always going to be the case. There are going to be times where it won't. Eventually, hopefully, we get to a place of such mass adoption that Bitcoin's volatility actually becomes very stable and we're very consistent day in and day out utilizing Bitcoin back and forth. That's not the reason to use it. And like I said, while I understand people's thinking, Bitcoin's purpose is not solely just to profit money, because there will be a day where that will stop. Let's say Bitcoin makes it to $5 million. I've even heard people say $10 million. Well, once it hits 10 million, what then? You know, if that's what we're going for, as soon as it hits that, why don't we all just sell and get out of Bitcoin? There's a reason to stay in, and that's what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, and guys, this goes back to the argument in cryptocurrencies about currency versus investment. So it goes back to the idea of, is Bitcoin going to become digital cash or digital gold? Right now, it's acting as digital gold. It's an investment, it's a commodity, it's an asset, it's something that you invest in with a hope of return. We are hoping that one day Bitcoin will become a digital currency that is mass adopted and the entire world uses instead of fiat currencies like the US dollar. But let me pause you there. Do you actually know what fiat means? What is fiat? Fiat currency is a currency that is not backed by anything. It's normally government-issued money, and it's a currency that is only backed by the trust of a central organization like the Federal Reserve. The reason that's a problem is because what the Federal Reserve is capable of doing is going into their computers and typing in some ones and zeros and saying, hey, Bank of America, hey, Wells Fargo, hey, Capital One, hey, bank, here's $1 trillion. Make sure that you help to inflate the economy and keep the economy afloat because we're going through a massive recession. That catches up to you. It's a lot more complicated than that, by the way. For all the economists in chat, you might be very upset with the way I just dumbed that down. The point is, the Federal Reserve is capable of injecting new liquidity into the market by creating US dollars out of thin air. When that happens, it devalues every dollar in the world. Let's put it this way. If you're married, how much would your wife value a diamond ring? Probably very highly, right? Now, what if she had 100 of them? Would she value any one of them as much? No. Absolutely not. She would not value any one of them as much because they're no longer unique. They're no longer rare. The reason gold is valuable is because it's rare. The reason diamonds are valuable is because they are rare. The US dollar is becoming less rare. A synonym for rare is scarce. The US dollar is becoming less scarce. It's being inflated, which means that there's more of it in circulation. It brings down the value of all the dollars. And what that means is if you have $100,000 in your bank account, next year it might be worth $80,000, and you just lost $20,000 worth of value, even though your bank account still reads $100,000. That's the concept of inflation. Not going to go too deep into that. The reason that we are in Bitcoin is not to make money, and it's not because Bitcoin is decentralized. The reason we're in Bitcoin is because Bitcoin has an artificially limited supply. Let's break that down. This is exactly what you want to tell people when you're evangelizing Bitcoin, and this is how you get people to listen. The US dollar has a major problem. Everything, literally, follow me here, everything that has ever been used as currency throughout the history of mankind, bar gold and kind of silver, has lost all of its value at some point. Rye stones, seashells, agri-beads, currencies like the paper currencies that came out of China, even the gold and silver and copper coins in the Roman Empire, every single one of these currencies was completely decimated. And when that happened, it led to the downfall of an entire civilization. We're talking about apocalyptic problems here. We're not just talking about, oh no, I'm talking about 100 times worse than COVID, guys. I'm talking about the downfall of civilizations here, the kind of thing that completely disperses and shakes up the entire map. We saw the same thing happen in Weimar Germany. Post-World War I, Germany had to pay all kinds of reparations to the Entente, the people, the United States and the UK and the failing Ottoman Empire. They had to pay all of these reparations, and what they did is that since they didn't have any of that money, they just printed money out of thin air and said, here, you have some, here, you have some, and so their currency became worthless. In Zimbabwe, we saw something similar happen recently, where there was a massive inflation of currency, massive devaluing of the currency. Same thing happened just a few years ago in Venezuela. We saw the Bolivar, massive amounts of inflation, the currency was printed into oblivion, and then every single one of those individual units of currency lost its value. People were making handbags out of Venezuelan bolivars down in Venezuela. That is how bad it got. But let me tell you what succeeded in Venezuela. Bitcoin. And that's my point, guys. The reason that Bitcoin has value, the foundational belief that is behind this entire ecosystem that we're in, is not decentralization, and it's not making money. It's limited supply and making the world a better place. If you wanted to boil all of cryptocurrency down into a mission statement, it is to make the world a better place by using technology to revolutionize currency. That would be a mission statement for Bitcoin right there, is using technology and changing the world, because we have a problem right now. Every single fiat currency on this planet will eventually go through a hyperinflationary event. It's going to happen. It's happened every time throughout the history of mankind. It'll end up happening to the US dollar. You can bank on that. It might take 200 years, might happen next year. I couldn't give you a single idea of when it'll happen, but it will happen eventually. And when that happens, people are going to wish that they had Bitcoin. It's the same reason people invest in gold, because gold is scarce. You can't just make gold out of thin air. You have to go and mine it. You have to mine Bitcoin. It's scarce. And that's what we want to be telling people. I've been rambling for a hot minute. Do either of you have anything to weigh in on that? Because I think people really need to internalize this. I think it's really important that people actually understand why we're here. Look, guys, there is a lot of money to be made in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and I'm not going to try and stop you from making money. In fact, it's our goal here to make you as much money as possible, because I believe you guys will go out and do good things with it. But understand why we're here, because it's deeper than making money. Tim, what are your thoughts?
No, so I even was commenting back and forth to someone in chat about this. So we've talked about this on previous streams, how what Bitcoin's issue at the moment is actually a lack of education. There's a lot of people even investing in it and getting into it, not fully understanding exactly what is happening. So people ask, like, is Bitcoin still in a price discovery phase? Which the answer is no, it is not in a price discovery phase. There are several little coins right now that are jumping and going and doing all these things because no one actually knows what to give them value. We understand Bitcoin's value. It has been agreed upon. It is just continuing to rise the same way stocks rise. So again, why last week did we see a Bitcoin dip? Well, if you look at the stock market dipped. What happens is people still view Bitcoin as a risky investment. So risky can be both positive and good. So at times it's like, oh, this is a great place to be. Let me take my money and go invest in it because I'm going to see it grow, and then I'll be able to cash out and take more money. But when the high yield, the 10-year high yield bond came out last week from the government, people are like, okay, that's a much more consistent, safer place to put my money. They view Bitcoin like a stock, and therefore we saw a little dip. Now we see people coming back to it and saying, okay, let me go invest back into Bitcoin. The problem with that is it's not an issue of not being still in a discovery phase. It's an issue of people's incentives for getting into it is this thought process of, let me put a little bit of money in, US dollars, to then raise that value and then cash back out. And now we're still stuck with US dollars, when in reality, Bitcoin was created, and Jeb, correct me if I'm wrong, Bitcoin was created just like gold to be a fight against inflation. Mm-hmm. So gold, the value of gold goes up as the US dollar goes down. It's not like gold is continuing to get better and better and better and better and better. Gold is gold. It is what it is, right? Bitcoin is Bitcoin. There is so much of it. Just like Jeb was saying, there's a limited amount. It is what it is. But as the US dollar and the British pound and all these other currencies of the world continue to inflate and get gross and
lose value,
Bitcoin will now become more valuable, not because overnight it did something magical and became more valuable, but because everything around it went down. And as soon as people start treating Bitcoin in that way, as soon as people understand that fundamental, because decentralization, okay, there's lots of things that are decentralized. I'll make profit. Okay, well, I can make profit a lot of different ways. At the end of the day, if my thought is make profit in US dollars, my hope and my foundation is still in US dollars. Mm-hmm. And as we see that be depleted, and its value go down, what's going to happen? So if you went back to the time in the 1800s, the Confederate dollar, people in the South operated with the Confederate dollar. But obviously during the Civil War, even in the middle of the Civil War, the value plummeted. And then afterwards, that money was absolutely worthless. What good is it to buy Bitcoin low, sell it high to continue to grow your US dollar, and then the US dollar just crash and you have nothing to say for it? Why do we think people like why do we think people like Tesla and Elon Musk are keeping this money as Bitcoin and not fiat? Because it's their fight against inflation. Guess what? If something happens US dollar, they're going to be completely okay because they're stockpiling a different currency. And as soon as people start treating Bitcoin in that way is when they'll actually see value, and that's when Bitcoin will actually do the most it can possibly do.
And guys, I want you to fully understand why we're here, because like Tim said, I just want to reiterate this real quick. A lot of things are decentralized. There are a lot of cryptocurrencies that are decentralized. Decentralization is actually not a rare thing. It's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to get into an analogy of what exactly decentralization is like in a second. And also, there's a lot of ways you can make money. You can make money in real estate. You can make money in stocks. You can make money in business. You can make money in crypto. You can make money in foreign trade. You can make money in Forex. You can make money all over the place. There's plenty of ways to make money. The thing that Bitcoin is unique in is that only it and gold throughout the entire history of mankind have ever been scarce enough to retain their value over millennia. The same gold that the Egyptians mined 5,000 years ago is still valuable today. You can't say that about the Romans' currency. You can't say that about the Chinese currency from 1400 BC. You can't say that about the Israelites' currencies or the Sumerians' currency or the Persians' currency. Every single one of them collapsed. Every last one of them. Why is gold valuable today, 5,500 years after we started mining it? It's because it is forcibly limited. You can't inflate the value of gold. You can inflate the value of a Roman currency or a Chinese currency or an Israeli currency or a Jewish currency or a Pakistani currency. You can inflate those. You can't inflate gold because you can't make gold out of thin air. You can make dollars, US dollars, out of thin air. The only thing stopping that is the full faith and trust of the US government. Well, you know what? I love America, by the way. I don't trust the government. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't trust them with my currency. That's why I'm in Bitcoin. I'm not in Bitcoin to make a bunch of money. Not the main reason. I do like making a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. And I want to teach you guys how to make a lot of money because I think that's a noble thing to do. I'm not in Bitcoin because it's decentralized. I'm in Bitcoin because it has a limited supply. I'm in Bitcoin because the inevitable collapse of the US dollar, whether it happens tomorrow or 200 years from now, people will turn to Bitcoin because Bitcoin has a limited supply. And by the way, I'm saying Bitcoin and not crypto, because not all crypto has a limited supply. Ethereum does not have a limited supply. A lot of them don't. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency that has a limited supply, but it is the main cryptocurrency that has a limited supply. And that is why you want to be involved with it, because this is the differentiating factor of Bitcoin. This is what it was founded on. If you go and read the Bitcoin white paper, this is why it was created. So, guys, you'll have to forgive me. I was sick for Thursday and Friday, and I still have a little bit of a cough, so I might have to cough every once in a while. There's an analogy I want to make, and Tim, I want to hear your take on this after I say it. Decentralization is very important. Here's the analogy that I'm going to give you. Decentralization is the U.S. military. The U.S. economy is limited supply. Let me explain. The U.S. military defends the U.S., right? Not getting into politics, not getting into foreign whatever. The point of the U.S. military is to defend the U.S., correct? What's the value of the U.S.? The value of the U.S. is not the military. The U.S. is not a $20 trillion GDP country because of its military. It has an impact on it, yes, but it's not the reason. The reason that the U.S. has a $20 trillion GDP is because of its economy. So the U.S. military defends its economy. Decentralization defends Bitcoin's limited supply. Decentralization is valuable because it helps to protect the essence of Bitcoin. Decentralization is akin to the scarcity of gold in the Earth's crust. Gold is a very rare element in the Earth's crust, therefore it is incredibly hard to inflate the supply of gold. Decentralization is the thing that protects, it's the protocol that protects the limited supply of Bitcoin from anyone who would like to come into Bitcoin and say, hey, I'm just going to print 100 billion Bitcoin and we're going to hyperinflate the economy. Decentralization is very important because it protects limited supply on Bitcoin. That's why blockchain technology is very important, is because it protects the trust. It's a trustless ecosystem. It provides trust without you needing to trust any central authority. So understand the reason that Bitcoin is valuable is because it has a limited supply, and because of that, it is the future of currency, even if it might take a little while. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
I completely agree. And that's the great thing about it is, don't get me wrong, decentralization is very massive. When you think about governments, we're talking about the difference between having a king and having a democracy.
Yes.
Right? So that being said, though, there were several kingdoms where the king was completely a just king and he actually wanted what's best for the people. But here's the thing. Even with a good king, there is no human being who actually wants to be in that form of a government, because you get held absolutely you're bound to whatever that one person decides. The beauty of Bitcoin is that because of its decentralization, nothing can be decided for you that way. We all have our part in it. And so as important as decentralization is and as great as it is, it's just not the main point to getting people to, because at the end of the day, if we go to that government system, if a king promised that I will give you thousands and thousands of dollars. I will give you
I'll give you
thousands
a
of
tank.
acres. I will give you cattle. I will give you everything you need to survive. You will have no problem being underneath him, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you're still at his mercy. So here's the thing. Is decentralization important? Absolutely. Is it essential for the security? Absolutely. The problem is some people do not care. So if we're trying to get people to adopt Bitcoin and to actually utilize it so that it gets its full effectiveness, that's not our first point. It's a later point. The most important thing is, hey, look at this right now. We're not talking profits, even though you can make profits. Hey, we're not talking decentralization, even though it's decentralized. We are talking about the fact that this is something that is limited. There's only a certain amount. And as the world moves this direction, which we are seeing it do every single day, you want to get in early. And remember the stories like that guy who bought a pizza with, was it 30,000?
30,000 Bitcoin.
He didn't
10,000.
realize how
10,000.
rare it was. Was it 10,000? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for fact checking.
He realized how rare it was. He just wanted to kick the ball off. He
Didn't
realize how much it would be. But he
Imagine,
knew it was gonna be a lot of
imagine how
money.
he feels today, though, after seeing the price. And then imagine
Yeah.
how he's going to feel 10 years from now after seeing the price. What we're getting people is to understand, hey, listen, as we move forward, this is going to be something you're going to want to get into later. The severity is this limited amount is so crucial that this is the reason why you want to get a Bitcoin.
So let me break it down really, really simply for you guys. Let's wrap this whole point up into a nutshell, and then we're going to move on to 2-minute technicals here in about 5 minutes. Let's go back to the analogy of the annoying vegan. I don't actually have anything against vegans. I just think it's a funny joke, by the way. Let's imagine some vegan comes up to you, and they are absolutely adamant that you become vegan, and they're saying, the animals are getting killed, the animals are not being treated correctly, and you need to do what I am doing because I say so. Are you going to follow them? Or are you going to be annoyed? You're probably going to be annoyed. See, that's what we do a lot when we go and we teach people about Bitcoin. We say, the US dollar is crazy, debt is terrible, and you need to come join Bitcoin because Bitcoin is amazing. Oh, by the way, Bitcoin's decentralized, so we use buzzwords because we don't really know what we're talking about. Let's go back to the analogy. A lot more people will probably become vegans if a vegan walks up to you and says, here's why you should be a vegan. Number one, I believe that animals suffer, and we don't want humans to suffer, so I don't want animals to suffer either. Okay. I might not agree with you, but at least I understand your point. Here's point number two. I think you should be a vegan because it'll make you healthier. It'll give you more energy so you can last at work longer. It'll make your relationships better. It'll make you look better. Being a vegan is healthier. Okay. I might not agree with that, but at least I understand your point. And then if I share those same values that you do, then okay, I might become a vegan. This is how we want to evangelize Bitcoin. Let's not walk up to people and start throwing buzzwords out and saying, Bitcoin's decentralized. Yay, Bitcoin can make you a lot of money. Yay, cool. Why should I care? I make a lot of money in my job. I'm a business owner. I make a lot of money there. Decentralized, I don't really know what that means. That's backing up Bitcoin, but I don't care about Bitcoin, so why should I care? Here's what we do when we go up to people. We show them what a problem is. This is the entire essence of marketing. Evangelizing is just a fancy way of saying marketing, by the way. Here's what marketing is in a nutshell. Here's your problem. Here's how we can solve it. Boom. That's marketing. Marketing 101. Present a problem, give them a solution. Here's the problem. The US dollar is not safe. Smack them with something upside the head and say, the US dollar is not safe. What? Really? I care about the US dollar because I want to make sure that I'm safe in my money. What? The euro isn't safe? What? The pound sterling isn't safe? Okay, I'm listening. I want to make sure that my money is secure. So you establish the problem. The US dollar's not safe. The euro's not safe. The pound's not safe. You got to back that up, by the way. You can't just say, hey, the pound isn't safe. You can't just say that and then walk away and just mic drop because then no one's going to respect you. They're going to say, oh, you're a hater. Explain to them this. The US dollar, the pound sterling, the euro, the yen, these currencies are backed by nothing. They can and eventually will be inflated into oblivion in the same way that every currency throughout the history of mankind ever has been. If you want more information, again, read this book, The Bitcoin Standard by Safadine Amos. If you're in Bitcoin, you haven't read this book, you're making a mistake by not reading this. Please read this book. You can read this book in an afternoon. It's a great book. In this book, they'll go over a ton of examples talking about agribees, talking about rhinestones, talking about seashells, talking about Rome. Every currency in the history of mankind that has ever been inflated has collapsed. When a currency collapses, the people that use that currency lose all their money. You explain that to people, and then they're like, "Huh? So what? So if that happens to the U.S. dollar, where do I go? Do I just lose all my money, and then I have to start from square one? I'm going to be impoverished? Okay. So I understand the problem. Cool. Then you come at them and you say this: Bitcoin was designed to solve the problem of limited supply. Bitcoin was designed to be an internet version of gold. And you can use this example. You can say the Roman currency lasted 700 years. The Israeli currency lasted 200 years. The Jewish currency, back it up with history. Don't just throw numbers out there and random facts like I am. The rye stones in Polynesia lasted for X number of years. The agri-bees lasted for 500 years. Gold has lasted for 6,000 years. Why? Because gold is naturally limited in its supply. Gold cannot be hyperinflated. So it's kept its supply forever. Bitcoin is the only other thing in existence. It's the only other commodity in existence that shares that property that is also adopted by a large portion of the world.
Well, I mean, that
is why Bitcoin is valuable. Silver's inflation is too high. If you look at silver, the reason that silver doesn't have the same kind of return that gold does is because silver has a higher its stock to flow ratio is too low. Again, read this book. You'll learn about stock to flow. Give us a 1 in chat if you'd like to learn more about stock to flow. The reason I don't say silver and I do say gold is because silver has an inflation somewhere around 2, 3, 4% a year. I don't remember exactly what it is. Gold's is a lot lower. It's around 1 to 2% a year at most. Yeah. It's a lot lower.
There's just more of it. There's more silver.
There's a lot more silver, and that's the reason it's not as valuable. So the point that I'm making here, show them the problem. Currencies not having limited supply is an issue, and it will end up biting you in the butt. You're losing 2% of your money in US dollars every year, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. You're probably going to lose a lot more in the next 2 years because of all the money that just got printed. Here's your solution, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's how you preach Bitcoin. Not by saying, hey, look, it's decentralized. Okay, why should I care? Not by saying, hey, look, you make a lot of money. I'm already making a lot of money. Why should I care? Because it's decentralized, because our current economic system is vulnerable, and this is the solution. There you go.
Yep. I'd also say real quick, that leads, and I'm not going to dive into it. I'm just going to take a quick minute to say this, though. This also leads into, once you now know what's special about Bitcoin, which is now its limited supply, that's what gives it value, right? Then that helps you now decide now what coins in cryptocurrency you invest in. It helps you now, like we just talked about with gold and silver. The reason why people don't like silver that much is because it has a higher supply, right? Mm-hmm. So then this is one of those principles, and just very quickly I'm going to say this. This is just one of those principles that say, okay, now if I'm going to look at something like a Litecoin or something, if it's doing the same thing as Bitcoin, but it's not quite there, then that's when you got to think, maybe this is just not the right project. It's like, so you have to kind of weigh what's trying to be a protocol like Ethereum and Cardano and Polkadot and whatever, and then what's trying to be a currency. And if we're thinking that Bitcoin's going to be the one world currency or something soon, then why invest in another currency? So that's just an idea that, like, hey, think about what you're investing in under that lens too. It'll help you make sure that you're investing in the right things.
And here's the deal, guys. A currency has to be two things, or else it's just a commodity. Every currency is a commodity, just so you know that. A currency has to be a medium of exchange, which means it has to be saleable across time, space, and scale. Read this book. I swear, a lot of what we're talking about here is based on this book. A currency has to be a medium of exchange, meaning I can buy this monitor for $500. I can buy this monitor for 0.1 Bitcoin, or I can buy this keyboard for 0.01 Bitcoin. It has to be a medium of exchange. And then number two, it has to be a medium of exchange that is accepted. So a currency is only a currency in the circle of the people that accept it. The US dollar is a currency because, 400 million people will accept it as payment. The yen is a currency because 500 million people will accept it. The pound is a currency because 100 million people will accept it. If 5 people have accepted it, then yeah, it's a currency among those 5 people. But the point is, for something to become a mass adopted currency that's really going to change the world, it has to have adoption. So Bitcoin right now is not mass adopted. It is getting there, though. More people are accepting Bitcoin. Tesla's one of them. We just saw a massive news story coming out of Visa. I actually want Tim to go over that real quick. The point is that as Bitcoin becomes more and more adopted, that backing of decentralization that supports the limited supply will become more understood. And that is where mass adoption comes from. That's where $1 million Bitcoin comes from. And that's how we make a lot of money in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, is by understanding the idea that Bitcoin was founded on. I'll leave you with this. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, and by the way, you can fact check what I'm saying. Go read the white paper. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, did Satoshi Nakamoto design it specifically because he wanted a decentralized system to exist? Yes, but also no. That wasn't the point, but decentralization was the thing that backed it. Especially this. Did Satoshi Nakamoto create Bitcoin because he wanted everybody to get rich? No. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he, she, or they are, believed in something. Satoshi Nakamoto believed that the future of currency would be more stable, and the world would therefore be a better place, and impoverished people and nations around the world would be better off if they had a currency that they can trust in intrinsically, not a currency that they had to trust in politics or a currency they had to trust in governments. If they had a currency they could trust in intrinsically, then they would all be better off. Bitcoin was founded on a belief. And if you're in Bitcoin for the belief of making money, that's fine. I want to make money too. All of us want to make money. That is a noble thing to do. I'm going to teach you how to make a lot of money on this channel. But the reason Bitcoin was created, just so you know, was not to make money. The reason Bitcoin was created was to give the world a better currency. And that's why we're here, and that's how you get people involved, because that is something that people can resonate with. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that, and also about the news coming out of Visa today? Because I know you read a little bit more about that than I did.
Yeah, no, I think, so we're going to talk about Ethereum's technical analysis here in a little bit, and this kind of goes with this.
Yep.
So this is just fundamental analysis on it. We've actually been kind of chewing on this around the office. Why is Ethereum, if you look at what people are looking up, first of all, no one is looking stuff up about Ethereum right now. We've talked about on this show, we do not think Ethereum is dead. We do not recommend people selling their Ethereum to buy Cardano or buy other things. We recommend holding it for right now. Not necessarily buying too much, although the other day, I will be honest, when it dipped the other day, I bought Ethereum, and I was very glad because it bounced back up. It's staying close to Bitcoin. But some of the news that is keeping Ethereum afloat, we have the NFT platform that is right now only on Ethereum, or at least mostly on Ethereum. And then we see news break today about Visa, and Visa is now going to be utilizing and allowing people to pay in, they're allowing it to, let's see, the headline is, Visa now settles payments in USDC stablecoin on Ethereum. That coin is the Crypto.com coin. So I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's fast and quickly growing up the chart on CoinMarketCap at least. It is growing day in and day out. This is a coin I heavily recommend you guys put a lot more thought and investment into to continue to watch, because while the article says that other coins will come and they're going to start adopting other ones as well, this is the first time we see some mass adoption of currency start to being exchanged in the cryptocurrency space. So do with that what you want. Jeb, I'll pass it back to you, but that's pretty big, not just for crypto in general, but it helps Ethereum. So those of you who are asking in chat, should I sell my Ethereum? What's happening in Ethereum? This is big news. And we're still waiting on ETH 2.0. We're going to see what happens there, but this is big. When you combine this with the growing popularity of NFTs, and now the fact that Visa is going to allow you to be paying and receiving money in exchange on Ethereum's platform, that's just another big step for all cryptocurrency.
Guys, there is a law, and I'm going to say this, and then we're going to move on to 2-minute technicals on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. We might talk about Crypto.com if we have time also, because that's probably a currency that's about to literally double in the next week. That's, just so you know, we don't do altcoin picks a lot. Crypto.com, do your research. Probably a good cryptocurrency to buy. With what we're reading, go do your research. Again, with what we're reading about Visa, just go read it. It's crazy. Anyway, there's a law. It is a law about innovation. It's called the S-curve of adoption, actually. The internet, I'll actually let me show you a chart real quick. S-curve of adoption. Let's grab one of these. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my live screen. This is what the S-curve of adoption looks like. You see that, let's find a good example here. Percentage of households. Got it. Good deal. Right here. So we have different products. We have the telephone, we have the automobile, we have washers and dryers, we have computers, we have color TVs. What these do is that they see slow adoption at first, then they see rapid adoption, and then the laggards start adopting them. That's the technical term, is the laggards. Those are your grandma who only owns a smartphone because she has to, and not because she wants to. She owns one because she literally couldn't live without one. Adoption happens gradually at first, then very quickly, then the last 10% of the population does it. Bitcoin is starting to get to that about 15% of the population adopting it, tipping point. Around 10 to 15%, really a lot of people will call it 18% of the adoption of people of a community adopting something. Around that time, 1 in 5 people have adopted it, and they're proselytizing about it. And so everybody knows 5 people, right? So everybody will know someone that has adopted this thing. And then everybody thinks, Johnny adopted it. I trust Johnny. He makes a lot of money. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then you see mass adoption happen, and then it freaking explodes. You see a rocket ship go up. If you've ever watched a rocket take off, it's slow, faster, stupidly fast. It goes really slow, and then boom, like a rocket ship, it takes off super fast. It starts accelerating at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Gs of acceleration. Insanely fast. That is where Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin took off a couple of years ago. It's in ascent and is getting to the point where it is about to freaking explode in the speed at which it is being adopted. That is why Tesla accepting Bitcoin. Amazon, I can almost guarantee you that in the next 2 years, Amazon will let you buy things in Bitcoin. The day that happens, oh my goodness. Visa getting involved with Crypto.com and Ethereum. The dominoes are falling, guys. And I want you to understand that. Something big is on the horizon. And something big being on the horizon, yes, it'll make you a lot of money. Yes, it being decentralized is great. But the reason it's here is because at the end of the day, this technology will make the world a better place. And that's something we can all get behind. So, guys, we're going to move on to 2-minute technicals unless y'all have anything to add to that. Smay, do you have anything?
It is time for 2-minute technicals.
It is time for 2-minute technicals. Good deal. Let's get our chart up over here. Goodness gracious, guys. My chart has all kinds of stuff on it. I'm going to go ahead and show you where we're going, and then I will show you where we are starting on Bitcoin. This is the chart that I'm looking at. Is everything? Yeah, everything's good there. This is the chart that I am doing my TA on right now, just so you guys know what my actual analysis looks like. We're going to make some predictions here in a little bit, and all of this analysis is what is backing up the prediction that I am doing. But in keeping with the 2-minute technical and blank to bank format, we are going to start with a blank chart so you guys will know how I do my technical analysis. So let's go ahead and get into some Bitcoin TA. The very first thing we have to do is draw some resistance levels. And the first one I want to point out is our previous all-time high back over here on the 21st of February at $58,300. Seems like a familiar level because that's exactly where we're touching right now. That is a very important level of resistance, one that we're going to discuss a little bit later when I go into my predictions. Another level of resistance is up here at $61,800. That's our all-time high from a week and a half ago. And we also have a level of resistance sitting right around $60,000. In fact, this is where my price prediction for Bitcoin comes from, is from this level right here. This level at around $59,700 is based on these two highs up here on the 18th of March and the 19th of March, respectively. This is something else I want to show you on the 4-hourly chart is we have a resistance downtrend that is now a support downtrend right here. We saw highs here, and highs here. You can see that just a couple of hours ago, Bitcoin broke this downtrend of resistance. Just this morning, $56,000, as resistance was broken, and we've now rallied all the way to 58,000. That's a very good sign, guys. Bitcoin has rallied now in the last 4 days, 16%. I think it's going to continue that rally. That's why I think it's going to rally. But the next thing I want to show you is out on the daily chart, because if you'll notice, Bitcoin's MACD is about to cross. We are having convergence of the MACD and the histogram line right now. We're having convergence of the MACD line and the signal line right now. The histogram is converging on itself, and we're likely to see a bullish MACD cross in the next 2 days if this uptrend that we've been in for the last 4 days should continue. If that happens, let me just go back to my other clogged up chart here. This looks crazy. I promise it's not that complicated. The blue lines right here represent bullish crosses. The red lines right here represent bearish crosses on MACD. Notice if we have a bullish cross right over here in about 2 days, that would line up with what we've seen. Every time we see a blue cross, a golden cross, a bullish cross on MACD, what happens? We saw a 118% rally this time. We saw a 70% rally this time. We saw a 21% rally this time. Some of them last 4 or 5 days, some of them last 21 days. The point is, in general, they last a while, and Bitcoin rallies quite a bit. If we see a bullish cross in the next couple of days, right down here, we're likely to see a major rally on Bitcoin of more than 20%. We could rally all the way to $70,000 in the next month if that should take place. Again, we need to see Bitcoin break $62,000. We need to see more volume come into the space. We need to see more hype in the space. Even though there's a lot of great news right now, there just isn't much excitement. And at the end of the day, that hype is one of the things that drives the market. So just because the technicals are saying, hey, we could go here, doesn't mean we're going to, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind. So guys, that's my take on Bitcoin right now. I think we have a very bright future on Bitcoin, but I do want to pass it back to Tim.
Yeah, no. So some fundamental points that you guys need to remember. First of all, we've already talked about, and we're going to talk about, I think, a little bit later, break down a little bit more of the Tesla news, which is massive. You know, is that the cause of the major spike right now? I don't think so. Another thing is go back and look at the last couple of years of what April has done in Bitcoin. I think it's been since 2014 that April was a bad month for Bitcoin. Historically, April is a massive boost. So you could you could look at the tax returns coming out there.
I think you said April was a bad month. I think you meant March, right?
No, well, last time April was a bad month for Bitcoin.
Yep.
Was 2014.
Oh, I thought you were saying every year since 2014.
No.
Okay.
If I said that,
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Correction. Yeah, no. April has been a great month, a massive boosting month every single year since 2014. So what I'm saying there is there's a lot of things that are very exciting about Bitcoin already, and we've been at, despite the fact that in this bull market, we saw bearish trends happen in a little bit in February, a little bit in March. I think we are about to see a massive boom, not only historically, but also with all these breaking news coming out with Tesla, with the Visa adoptability. There is still this persona. I was reading some articles and some Twitter feeds, people saying they work at banks where people are coming into banks and asking, how can I get invested into Bitcoin? So the number is growing. The amount of people who are learning to hodl Bitcoin is growing and growing and growing and growing. The amount of people, we look at the cities like Miami, like New York, who have mayors who are very pro Bitcoin. We look at these countries adopting it. We see even the United States government, where there's this mass thought that potentially the U.S. could ban Bitcoin. Someone from the White House, I can't remember his name and I'll have to look at that later. Someone from the White House came out and said that would literally be impossible. We see everything trending up for Bitcoin. So look out for April, guys. I don't want to tell you exactly how much to invest, but I would say invest. Someone asked in chat, when's a good time to enter? Now.
Yep.
Now is a good time to enter.
I agree with that. And actually, guys, I want to start doing this. Every time we do technical analysis, I want to look for a trade setup that I can give you guys, because at the end of the day, I know you guys watch these videos because you want to learn how to make money. I don't blame you. So let me give you a trade setup really quickly on Bitcoin. I think we're gonna have to skip Cardano technical analysis today. I do want to show you some stuff on Ethereum. There's not much going on Cardano anyway. We'll cover Cardano in the next stream. I'm going to talk about Ethereum, but I actually want to give you a trade setup on Bitcoin really quickly because I do see one and I think it would provide you guys with value. So I showed you all this technical analysis a second ago. I showed you the downtrends that Bitcoin had under its belt. So I showed you all of this. This is where I think we may be seeing a trade setup on Bitcoin. We have a very important level of resistance at $58,300 to $400. This is based on our previous level of resistance right over here, back in the 21st of February. Our next level of resistance is up between $59,700 and $60,000. That means that if, the key word here is if, pay attention guys, if Bitcoin breaks $58,400, there's a trade setup. If it doesn't break it, then don't enter this trade. I'm telling you, do not enter this trade before we break $58,400. But if Bitcoin breaks $58,400, here's a potential trade that you have. We're going to enter right around $58,600. And by the way, guys, I do these trade setups as example only. We like to teach you guys how to fish, but I'm also going to give you a couple fish. Here's a fish. Bitcoin, if it breaks $58,000, is almost certainly going to go to the next level / zone of resistance, up around $58,700 to $60,000, somewhere in there. That is your price target, up around $59,600. I would encourage you to put your exit just a little bit below the resistance level, because oftentimes the market won't go all the way to the resistance level. It'll stop a little bit early. So you have your entry price around $58,500. You have an exit price around $59,600, $1,100 in gain. You can have an extremely conservative stop loss of like $58,200. That's going to give you a 2 to 3x risk to reward ratio. That's not bad. Statistically, 2 out of 3 times you're probably going to make money on that trade. It's a trade that might not end up working out for you, but you make a lot of trades with high risk to reward ratios. That's how you're going to make money in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. By the way, let me show you this. Bitcoin has an inverse head and shoulders pattern on it right now. This inverse head and shoulders pattern has a neckline at $56,400. If we draw our price target on this neckline like this, and we pull it to the upside, this is actually predicting a $62,500 Bitcoin, and that would make you quite a bit of money if you entered that trade. So guys, give me a 1 in chat if you would like to see more trade setups like this. I want to make sure you guys are making as much money as you possibly can, and I think that is something that could be of assistance to you.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to say, let's go ahead and let's skip Ethereum and do Cardano.
Really?
We put Cardano in the title.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So let's go ahead and do Ethereum tomorrow.
Yeah.
So guys, this is a SME producer promise. We are going to do Ethereum tomorrow. But we're going to go ahead and do Cardano real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Sounds good, guys. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and do some ADA technical analysis, so let's go ahead and jump straight on over to the chart. Guys, Cardano is a project that we love here at the channel, and it is a project that I do have quite a bit to say about. We have a level of resistance sitting up here at $1.49 at the moment. It is currently a double top formation on Cardano, a level that Cardano is going to have to fight pretty hard to break through. Cardano is losing a lot of its volatility, not because Cardano is a bad project. Let me be very clear on this. Cardano is a good project with a great future ahead of it, so long as it stays the course that it's on. It's sitting at number 5 for a reason, and I think it deserves it. However, someone asked earlier, what is price discovery mode? We've talked about price discovery mode. I think it was Sweetie D said, what is price discovery mode? Here's what price discovery mode is. You have a new project. You launch it. You have no freaking clue what it belongs at as far as price is concerned. So what happens? The cryptocurrency explodes and rallies 10,000% in a year. And then all of a sudden, the cryptocurrency rallies 50% the next year. What gives? Well, the cryptocurrency started at 0, right? It rallied 10,000% to $1.50, let's say, on Cardano, and it got to where it's actually supposed to be valued at. The reason Cardano isn't seeing crazy rallies like it was literally 6 months ago is because Cardano's no longer in price discovery mode. It's figured out what it really wants to be trading at. So that's why Cardano's trading sideways, and that's why it's going to be hard for it to get above $1.50, is because it's actually trading at what it's worth right now. It's at a very healthy level, and that's good news for anyone holding Cardano, because you're probably not going to see the floor fall out from under this currency because it's in a stable place. One thing I do want to show you on Cardano is on the daily chart. We may be about to see a bullish cross on MACD, and if that happens, then maybe we go back up and we test that level of $1.50. If that happens, then you have a trade setup. So let me go ahead and show you that trade setup, guys. We have a level of resistance sitting right here. Go ahead and do a horizontal level at $1.28. This level comes from our previous high just a couple of days ago. We also have a couple of highs over here and some trading back over here. If I look at VPVR, I think it'll also be a bit of a VPVR spike. Yes, it's the end of the VPVR level of resistance. That is fine and dandy. If Cardano is to break $1.28, it doesn't have much resistance before it goes to $1.50. Remember, guys, MACD crosses are incredibly powerful. So if we have a MACD cross like this, think of that as an earthquake. Sets a lot of things in motion. That earthquake happens, and then Cardano starts to move. So here is your trade setup for Cardano, and I'm going to walk you through how I did this. I found the level of resistance. I found that there's a catalyst for bullish momentum on Cardano. And I believe that if we break that resistance, that bullish momentum will push Cardano even higher. Here's where I would trade this market. And I'm thinking about entering this trade myself. This is not just necessarily hypothetical. An entry price on Cardano, I would probably put at exactly $1.30. You can double tap on these, by the way, and you can come in here and put the exact price. I'm going to put the exact entry price at 1.3 cents. I'm also going to put a stop loss pretty conservative here around $1.27. I don't see any big levels that are jumping out at me as to where I'd like to put that, so I'm going to put it at about a 2.5%, right around $1.27. Going to put it right here. Boom, boom, boom. $1.27. I'm also going to put a level of resistance just a little bit below the all-time high at $1.47. Remember, guys, you want to undershoot the level of resistance just a little bit, just in case you don't quite get there. It's not going to cost you much, but it's going to mean that your trades are going to execute a lot more often. Look at this, guys. 5.67 risk to reward ratio. This means that, generally speaking, you're going to make money on this trade. You might not. You might make money. You got like a 70% chance you're going to make money on this trade based on the technical analysis. Steal this from me. But here's where I want you to, this is what I want you to take from this. I want you to look at this trade and say, how did Jeb set that up so you can go and set up trades on your own? So guys, that is my technical analysis on Cardano. We're going to go ahead and move into our price predictions and wrap up the show.
Real quick, I definitely need to. So somebody even asked in chat about the smart contracts. So everything Jeb just said from the technical side is what we've been dealing with in the past. But I wanted to make sure you guys knew, first of all, on the heels of the news of the Coinbase adoption of Cardano, which was big, Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson revealed that his company is in negotiations with the platforms about switching their transactions from Ethereum to Cardano's ADA token. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, how right now Ethereum was riding this train of being the main go-to for NFTs, which is a growing platform, growing industry. Charles Hoskinson just said that, or recently said in the last couple of days, that he took some time, he did his research, and in his time, ADA is actually jumping in there. So watch out what could happen. As Jeb said, it's trading sideways, but a lot of people are predicting that there's going to be a bull run very, very soon in the next couple of days with this news. Keep posted on that. I'm very bullish personally about Cardano.
So guys, I'm going to say one more thing, then we're going to move into our price predictions for where we think Bitcoin is going to go. If you want to learn more about technical analysis, how to do these trade setups, and if you want to learn how to actually make money in cryptocurrency markets, remember guys, we are in cryptocurrency because we believe in what the founder of Bitcoin believed in. I believe in the value of limited supply and a trustless ecosystem of currency, but I also believe making money is a great thing, and I think it's a noble cause, and I want to teach you how to make money. Someone in chat, it was Miner Huck. Shout out to Miner Huck. You've been around the channel for a very long time. He said, I did a 100% trade in 3 hours 2 days ago and doubled my portfolio, all because of CT2A. Guys, if you'd like to sign up for CT2A, there's a link in the description box down below. I'm going to teach you in that course everything you need to know about technical analysis and how to use it to set up profitable trades. Tim, let's move into our price predictions.
Yep. Before we get there, if this was a helpful show for you guys, if you guys learned a lot, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to tune in every single day to learn more and more how to actually make money and be successful in the cryptocurrency space. The other thing you do if you want to support us is not only go get that course that Jeb was just talking about, CT2A, but also if you're outside the United States and want to look for a trading platform, you can click our affiliate link for Bybit below and start trading on that today. Super easy to trade, super helpful. And so that being said, let's move into our predictions. We actually have them written down today to save time, but I'll let everyone read their numbers if they remember them. If not, I'll read them for them. So just so people know, Bitcoin is currently sitting at $58,107.25. So what we're predicting is what it might look like tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. So Jeb, do you remember your number?
I believe I do. I believe the prediction that I made was $59,732.
That is right on.
Boom! Memory. How about that?
There we go. All right.
Awesome. That's my prediction. I think Bitcoin's going to $59,732. Let me hear what you think, Smay.
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 $60,000
On the
guys.
dot.
Boom sauce.
$60,000.
On the dot. And then Zach, he is outside of the room right now. He said $59,000 right on the dot. So we see a complete bullish trend going. Everyone is expecting Bitcoin to come up, and I like those predictions. Now we come to Tim's prediction. So here's the thing, guys. I have been on a very unlucky streak. I have lost a lot, and this challenges your core it challenges my humility a lot because I've had to be very humble, taking a lot of these L's. And there's the temptation to go against my gut and to go against my position, which is to be the voice of the people. And I said from the very beginning, I'm in this for you guys. I want you guys making money. Here's the thing. The greats don't give up when it gets tough. The greats stick to their guns. You put me in this seat. You voted Team Tim because you believed in us. You believed in the growth of the entire community. So with that being
Tim
said,
is the president after all.
tomorrow morning at 9:30, it is going to be sitting at $61,893.17. And that is because I believe in you guys. I believe we're moving back towards all-time high. And with that being said, vote Team Tim.
Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We very much appreciate you tuning in. That is going to wrap it out for today's live stream. Make sure to share this stream with a friend, and make sure to share the good news of Bitcoin with a friend by explaining to them exactly why Bitcoin was created in the first place and why it will make their life a lot safer, and they're not going to have to worry about currency crises, the likes of which every civilization in history has ever gone through. Tell people about that, guys. We want to help spread the word about Bitcoin so that more people have the safety of this currency. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it out for today's live stream. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Got a real good feeling.